So I would like to welcome you on today's lecture about the WebAssembly. My name is Bohumir Pospíšil. Everybody calls me Mira. So that's about me. I hope you all know me. I'm the architect in the .NET here. So yeah, that's about me. Let's start with the WebAssembly. Okay. Before we start with the WebAssembly, I would like to start with a really brief history of web development. I'm really old guy, so I lived through whole web development from the beginning. I started in late 90s, so I remember a lot. So
Stop it. I have some problem. Třeba link na ten YouTube. Já zpravdu, nevím, kde je.
Oni by se neměli připojovat na Hangout, ale...
Protože já musím připojit na ten Hangout, no.
No jasně, já ti říkám, že musíš začít nahrávat.
Já jsem dala nahrávání, ale nevím, jaký tam mám dát link.
Kdo umí s Hangoutem? No?
Já to mám přes YouTube.
Hangout to nahrává na YouTube.
Maybe I have it. Yeah, můžeš pokračovat.
Okay, so once more again, today's lecture is about WebAssembly, and let's start. Yeah, let's start with a brief history of web development. In the early 90s, there will be, introduced HTML, first web browser. So let's say that in the early 90s, the web development started. But it took very long time before the whole web internet was more than just few simple pages. In late 90s, let's say second half of 90s, the real web development started. I don't know if you recall these days, it was a lot of like simple web pages about company, contact, and so on. It was usually developed in just simple HTML. Then later PHP, ASP started, and web pages started to be a little bit more complicated. JavaScript started in second half of 90s. So we all tried to create our first JavaScript menu. I don't know if you recall these days. And Flash Player started. Flash Player, the main selling point of Flash Player was to solve problems with video in web browser. After year 2000, the web application started to be really the web application, not just simple web. The Google was the big change for everybody. You probably don't remember that. And even like the ordinary web pages starting to be more complicated. So people start to use, in my case, ASP.NET, JSP, I don't know, some MEC frameworks like Ruby on Rails. And first, let's say, real client-side application were introduced, like Gmail and a lot of similar things. Still, the whole development was usually done by request-response kind of web development, but Ajax was introduced. JavaScript was killed by Apple. Flash was killed by Apple because there was a lot of troubles with Flash Player. But I don't know if you remember the days when a lot of people tried to create very sexy UIs in Flash players. It reminds me a little bit today's JavaScript single pages. Yeah, it was strange days. At the end of previous decade, started so-called the browser's war, which end up with really high performance boost of JavaScript on the client side. The browsers compete in how fast they can run the JavaScript, how many features the JavaScript will have, and the changes were almost daily. So uh, after this skyrocketing of JavaScript performance, the JavaScript and client-side programming of JavaScript became really a thing. Before it, the computers had too low performance to even sometimes even for JavaScript menu. Yeah, so without this, let's say, performance boost, I think client-side development of pages wouldn't be even possible. Yeah, in last few years, the HTML5, I guess you all know it. Finally came, the first talk about HTML5 I heard in 90s. So it was really a long time on the horizon. Of course, JavaScript, all JavaScript frameworks, I think you know them, Angular, REST, and so on. So slowly but surely, the all web pages are changing in something like thick clients in web browsers. So the UI is more like in regular desktop applications. Yeah, but with this came really high complexity of application on client side. The JavaScript menu was very, very simple, but right now there is thousands and thousands of lines of code in client side, and more complex the application are, more features there is in the client side, the more sophisticated language and frameworks you need. So see, right now it's Angular 6. There are new features in every version. Instead of JavaScript, ECMAScript has a lot of new version, new features. Even this is not good enough. Everybody or most of people right now use the TypeScript, but I don't think it's enough either. Let's move on. Okay, so simple conclusion of this brief history. Everything is changing. Nothing is carved in stone. So, and as we move on, every application is changing, like from lower complexity to higher complexity, and the same development is in the tools we use for developing. When we started to develop simple pages, we used just PHP or ASP. It was simple scripting. The pages were really simple, but it wasn't good enough. We need to move to more complex backend development. So I expect a similar, let's say, tendency in client-side development. Okay, it was the introduction, and now let's talk about WebAssembly. WebAssembly in general, it's a binary language underneath the JavaScript. Right now, if you write something in JavaScript, it needs to be parsed, compiled, optimized, and execute. As you can see, this very simple picture, it's optimized several times. I saw you can Google it, but there are some pictures how the process is working. It's very complex. Just before the JavaScript is execute, there's really a lot of things to get the binary. And the binary, every browser obviously has had the different binary for their purpose. But I think 1 year ago they decided that they will standardize the binary for JavaScript, and that's WebAssembly, or binary for scripts which run in browser. let's be precise. Yeah, to force everybody to agree on it and to be the standardization to be possible in short period of time, the WebAssembly is really simple. It's like assembler. It can do almost anything. We will talk about it later. But the result is that right now all major browsers support WebAssembly, and that's big. And I saw some statistic, and right now more than 70, I think it's almost 80% of browsers use on a lot of big websites are supporting WebAssembly. So, and other thing is that even if the browser don't support WebAssembly, there is a WASM.js which provides you the possibility to run WebAssembly applications. So even Internet Explorer, you can run there the WebAssembly application, and Internet Explorer doesn't support WebAssembly, just for your information, because the Edge is the replacement for Internet Explorer. When you try to compile JavaScript into WebAssembly, the performance increase should be 20 to 30%. I know it's not much, but yeah, it's a start. This is some simple showcase how the WebAssembly looks like. So if some of you ever try to develop anything in assembler, yeah, this is WebAssembly is technically assembler, or bytecode, binary, call it however you want. So let's move to the benefit of WebAssembly. Higher performance, that's obvious. Especially the execution phase, it's cut off. The optimization, the reoptimization, execution, parsing, blah, blah, blah. You can, especially start of WebAssembly should be much faster than of JavaScript if you just compile the JavaScript into the WebAssembly. Yeah, but this is just start, because JavaScript is it's not really a perfect language, and you can go much further with the optimization if you use different language, different environment. I don't know, different kind of compilation than JavaScript. Of course, another motivation is lower battery consumption, and the biggest advantage, by my opinion, is the possibility to develop for UI in other platforms than JavaScript. So we will talk about it later. But even now, like few months after WebAssembly was implemented in major browsers, there are a lot of experimental framework for WebAssembly. Yeah. Also, it's also not just to use different language, different compiler, different environment for developing on client. It also allows to use the different frameworks. And my opinion, this is the biggest change. Because our current framework like REST or Angular are just their main purpose is solve problems in JavaScript, in HTML, but if there will be no, we can move it forward. We can create more complex UI similar to FIC clients. A lot of companies right now considering to move their FIC client into the web browser. It's bringing a lot of benefits. It will work on any platform. You have Linux, you have Apple, you have some mobile phone, you have BlackBerry system. If your web browser supports WebAssembly, your application will work there. So that's also a very big benefit. And I saw some presentation from the guys from CAT, and they created for a web browser the way to show their CAT files. it's very complex, like drawing of things, and it's written in C, compiled to the WebAssembly, and it's working in your browser. So you can see the cat cat source file as an image in your browser. Yeah, I know it's not much, but it's still a start. Okay, let's talk about current situation about compilers in WebAssembly. Right now, the first in the line are C and C++ compilers. It's obvious. The C and C++ is closer to binary code. To the they are very simple languages which are optimized. The first purpose of C was to write operation system. Even now, most of drivers are written in C. So C is simpler. So C is simpler also compiled to the WebAssembly. But there are many others. For example, Rust, Java, Kotlin, Go. It's really interesting to compile the OpenGL into the WebAssembly. So there are presentation like when they compile very complex 3D graphic into the WebAssembly, and it's work in your browser. In this case, the performance increase is like incredible, because they use the WebGL, and they compile OpenGL things into the WebGL. So yeah, I think we will see the games written for WebAssembly soon. Just my personal guess. Yeah, I want to show you just very briefly, just as a showcase, the framework which is for .NET. The name of this framework is Blazor, or framework. It's a compiler, environment. I don't know. Choose your favorite. It's still in experimental phase, but it's fully functional. Let's see. So I will create new project. Yeah, let's create it as a Blazor. So we created a project, and this is how it looks like. I don't know, guys. Some of you are maybe not familiar with C#, but this is C#, and this is just page when you press button, and it's increase counter to show how does it work. So let's say that we can increase counter by 2, not by 1. Let's compile it and run it. Yeah, I don't want to show some complex developing in this framework, because this framework can change any day. And also, I'm not sure if it's interesting for you. Okay, should increase by 2 because I changed it. So I have regular C# code, and it's running in browser. Yeah. How does it work? Let's see. This is the source of this page. Okay, I zoom it. As you can see, there is just run Blazor application, open some method in some DL, and that's all. It's also a lot of .NET standard DLs loaded from server as a DL. Yeah, that's about it. And if you look, okay, I'm not sure if it's. Yeah, I know, because I need to press there. I know it's not. It should load lot of libraries. Yeah, I tried to press +5. Probably just hide it from me.
Where is the checkbox? Disable cache.
Where? Okay. Disable cache. I don't know why it's not showing. Maybe
Filters are set.
Yeah.
Change from JS to all.
Thank you.
Ah.
Luckily, we have really skilled HR.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, I'm not sure if it's. I cannot zoom it. Sorry. Yeah, there is a lot of DL. Very important DL is, I'm not sure if Blazor, JS. There should be mono DL. I'm blind right now.
System DL.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
So please sit down and continue.
Maybe you can take it over.
Change your glasses.
Yeah. Okay. This is just showcase that WebAssembly is not just theoretical thing, but it's really a thing you can use right now. Okay, not in production. In production, you can probably use just a C or C++. Yeah, but there is a lot of experimental framework, not just for C#, as I show you, for Rust and Java and other Kotlin, for example, for other languages. So it's a living thing. It's not just theoretical.
How big was the mono library?
Sorry?
How big was the mono library?
Yeah, it's quite big. It's I think a few megabytes. Yeah, but it's still
per session or
sorry.
It's loaded there.
No, it's like loaded once. But even now they are working. You know, I saw a lot of videos about Blazor specifically. Maybe I can do some lecture just about Blazor, but maybe I will do it a little bit in later stages because right now it's like they can change anything what's there in any moment. You know, it's not stable at all. No, but they are considering to do some cherry picking to choose just things they need. Yeah, they are considering doing a lot of things about it. And there is even now the big community about the Blazor. They have a lot of people who want to help them, who want to work about it. So right now, it's like really popular topic in .NET world, the Blazor. And there will be a lot of changes in the future. Yeah, and they considering to make the DL much smaller to just pick just functions they need and so on. What is missing in WebAssembly? As I said, the WebAssembly is really simple, like the minimal things they can agree on. So there is a lot of things missing. From the perspective of .NET developer, maybe even Java developer, the biggest thing what's missing there is garbage collection. Yeah, here has really big advantage. For example, Rust, which has no garbage collector, they do the I think some counting of references. I'm not sure. Yeah. So garbage collection, it's missing, but as I show you the example, they solve it like they took the framework, which is written in C, they compile it into the WebAssembly, and then over it, they run the C# code. That's in the example which I showed you, it's done this way. There's the mono, you ask it, so that's the reason, by the way, why they use mono, because mono is written in C, and .NET Standard is written in C#. That's the reason why they use mono and not .NET Standard. But that's bottom line. So as you can see, there is a lot of things missing which you expect to have in advanced, in sophisticated language. So they are already considering it. It's on their to-do list. And if you open WebAssembly, I don't know, pages, this is the things they are considering and many more. Yeah. So, but it's no problem because it could be solved the same way as I show you, like in .NET, it could be into the framework, but it would be much faster, you know, and the files could be much smaller for it if it could be directly in WebAssembly. Okay, so what's my prediction about WebAssembly? Now we are getting into the really rotten ice. Yeah, I think I'm almost sure that WebAssembly will not disappear like some like a lot of other frameworks or technologies did in the past. Google, Microsoft, even Apple invested a lot into WebAssembly. So it will be with us for at least for a few years, I'm sure. And also the level of excitement from the developers community about the frameworks for WebAssembly shows that this is a thing which will not die soon. I don't believe that. Yeah, and there are a lot of experimental frameworks are introduced every day. A lot of them getting quite mature. Yeah, advanced. And especially, for example, the Blazor, it was introduced somewhere in February. Until February, there is a lot of changes, a lot of new features, a lot of new possibilities, and there is really obvious that they put very lot of energy into the Blazor, and just one of them. C and C++ is really production ready, so I guess that a lot of companies try to take their application and compile it for WebAssembly. It's not so simple because a lot of applications use some special features of the environment where they work. Like if you compile your application for Linux, there will be some call of special features from Linux. Same with Windows. So it's not so simple. If you have something just in C and it doesn't use some external library, it could be compiled for WebAssembly like now, like 5 minutes ago. Yeah. So I think the benefits of running your application in web browser in any platform without installation, just you click on the link and application will open up. I think it's so tempting possibilities that a lot of applications will be migrated in WebAssembly. My prediction in soon future, in close future. Yeah, and this is much more riskier. Where I think it will go. Yeah, I think that web browser can become a new virtual machine, like a new terminal. Yeah, so you will not develop FIG client for some specific platform, for Windows, for Linux, for Android. You will write down your application in WebAssembly, and it will run everywhere. Yeah, but this will force you to use more advanced UI framework, because right now the frameworks are not ready for this kind of development. Also, it can allow you to create a client-side application the same as FIG clients. And I'm not sure that for FIG clients the perfect way to go is HTML5, Angular, REST. Yeah, time will tell. I'm not sure about it. So, it's look like, or my opinion is that it will move to the application will move to a browser. It became more and more complex, more and more advanced. It will force to use more and more advanced and complex frameworks. It will force you to use typed languages, the languages which allows you to develop complex application. Even now, you can develop application in assembler. Who will do that? It's a suicide mission. Yeah, so I think that a lot of application will move into the browser as a FIG client, but this will like diminish the importance of your operation system. Your operation system will not be interesting anymore. All application will work everywhere. So yeah, there could be new operation systems which will be some operation system which will use just 2% of users. Yeah, why not? Your application will work there anyway. So where's the problem? Yeah, so I think that this will diminish the importance of operation system. I may be wrong, but that's my opinion. Yeah, so single pages will change into the, let's say, big client. I don't think that single pages will disappear. But right now, we are trying to use the single pages for so complex UI, which are practically fixed clients. And I don't think that it's a perfect solution for it. Yeah, I think there will be frameworks more or less like WPF and things like that, which gives you more comfort when you create really complex UI like fixed client. And future of JavaScript, yeah, I'm really curious. Right now, it will lose, or very soon it will lose its own selling point. It's a native language of web browser. This like biggest feature will lose. My opinion that without it, it's useless. But I guess a lot of people think otherwise, so I'm really curious who is right. Yeah, so right now, after WebAssembly will spread a lot, it will take, I don't know, 1-2 years. The knowledge must spread, the frameworks has to be created, the compilers, like to be production ready, you want to see that it's somebody created the application in it. So it will take 1, 2, maybe 3 years to widely spread. And then I think JavaScript can show if it's so good language or not. Because if it's bad, then it will be then the JavaScript will disappear slowly. If it's good, it will survive and spread. We will see. Time will tell. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for your attention. Any questions? Okay.
Question. I understood that one problem with WebAssembly is that it cannot directly manipulate the code, though.
Yeah, you can. You can call JavaScript from WebAssembly.
Yeah, by callbacks, but not directly.
Oh, I know that there are some frameworks which allows you to work with DOM in WebAssembly. So, and I'm almost sure they don't use JavaScript for it. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but as you can see, I can show you in the Blazor example. They don't use HTML at all. They compile it, like they show it for
Yeah, they
you.
compile it first, but if you want afterwards to change it, like a lot of single pages applications do that.
Yeah, but you don't have to write a single page.
So
Let's say
they don't,
you can
they don't
use.
use HTML, you are saying?
You don't have to.
Yeah, but what you need to do is build some data, then optionally you often need to change.
Yeah, but you don't have to write your application as HTML. It's not necessary.
No, that's not.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but I think that a lot of people will not write their application in HTML. If I would get the choice, yeah, I would use WPF, which is much more advanced framework than any framework currently used in HTML and JavaScript.
But that's just future at this point.
Not really. Using Blazor, you can do it right now, even right now. Yeah.
WPF in browser.
Yes. Okay. Probably. I didn't try it, so I'm not sure if it's possible. But
How is that rendered? What does it use to, access the screen? I would say.
yeah, I'm not sure. I saw a lot of presentations, and in some presentations, I'm not sure about Blazor, I have to say. But in a lot of presentations, they use the methods from the browser. They use the components from the browser to draw things in UI. So the DL can be much smaller because a lot of you use a rendering engine in the browser. So even these things, and I'm not sure if there are visions or it's already there. You don't have to have in your DLs the rendering engine. You have to have there the, let's say, HTTP client, because it's everything in the browser. You can use the methods browser know how to call HTTP. Yeah, so you can.
So what's so far in the norm of WebAssembly? Is it just the assembly the instructions, or is there also some standard for connection to the browser?
Sorry, I don't know. I didn't study it so deeply, you know. I spent with it like 10, 20 hours, and it's nothing. You know. So yeah, sorry, I don't know. That's the answer.
There's a question on Slack.
Yeah.
So, sorry. If WebAssembly can use daily and native browser events.
I'm not sure if directly natively, but for sure you can. There is interop for JavaScript, and through JavaScript you can do whatever you want in this case. I know that. I think that DOM parsing is not in WebAssembly, you're right. Yeah, but technically you can develop it. A lot of clients, like I think in the .NET there are some HTML parsing libraries which work on the server, or you can extract it from server. So you can create your assembly, like your DL is parsing the HTML, and then you can try to interfere with DOM. Yeah, so yeah, that's the answer. I know that it's not very in WebAssembly, but I know it's possible to do it through JavaScript, probably, or surely, and you can create your DL, your own library to do it, if you want. Some other questions? Okay, so I guess that's all. Thank you for attention.
Thank you.